Start recording. Okay. So let's begin with, the class is essentially at an end. I just want to cover the final exam, the rules, and the material that we're going to go over. So probably less than 10 or 15 minutes. Let's see. Since you're talking about the quiz, let's start with the quiz. So quiz is on Wednesday. That's the last quiz of the quarter. That's 9 quizzes. There's actually more than 2 midterms in terms of length and material. That's on logic gates on Wednesday. Okay, so based on logic gates. And since it'll be close to the final exam, we're going to test you on logic gates on Wednesday. And then that topic will not be assessed separately on the final exam. So you'll study it for this week, and then that would be it until you begin your career as an as a CPE.
Wait, how come it's not on the final?
If you want, I'll add it to the final.
Wait, no, those logic gates are like different.
The circuits for the logic gates?
Wait, but just like the logic gate is just like.
No, not just logic gate. I mean, you say the circuits, right? It's not just like digital design. It's like circuit design. We're not doing CP 133 or 233. It's not digital design. It'll be circuit design.
It'd be like if you ask us like make this gate with like just the PMOS and NMOS.
Something like that, yes.
That would be like 3 points.
3 points. Well, you learn those 3 points on the quiz then. And then if it shows up on the final exam, you can all blame him. What happened to my... Oh, there it is. No, anyway, jokes apart. So I'll be testing and assessing it on Wednesday, and then the final is the few days later. So usually if it's something like this, if I do a quiz on a Wednesday or a Friday, then I try to avoid assessing the same topic again, repeating it twice, unless there's special circumstances. So anyway, logic gates won't be on there. All right, so then let's talk about the final exam. Talk about how many of you have read it? Just one student? That's it? Okay. So we are section 02 of the lecture. So our exam is university schedule exam is on Wednesday. Okay. From 1 to 4 p.m. So Wednesday of finals week. If you wish to attend at its regular time on Wednesday, great. You don't need to do anything else. Simply show up on that day. Students also have the options to choose when they want to take the final on 3 other days. The first one is the Friday. So if you need more time to prepare, you can take it with the other section on Friday. You can also take it with my 113 class on the Monday. So if you want to get done early, then you can take it on a Monday. And if you wish to get done even earlier than that, then there is a 4th option, which is the Saturday before finals week. Okay, this is the Saturday before finals, not after finals week. So it's on June 7th. All 4 options, the exam times are from 1 to 4 p.m., 1:10 to 4 p.m. The university scheduled exam dates and times are in this classroom. Okay, regular classroom. It's always university policy. But the Saturday final, which is the additional 4th option, is not in this classroom. It's in Engineering East, Building 20, Room 131. Everybody knows where Building 20 is, I'm assuming. You think the labs, you're spending most of your educational career in that building. And 131 is the room, the first room in the corner when we go over from this building. Okay, so 131 is right opposite. Sounds like a stupid statement. It's right next to 132. Oh boy, full of corny jokes today. Okay, so as I said, if you are planning to take it on Saturday, just keep in mind, it's not in this classroom, it's in Building 20. Okay, so if you are taking it on the regular time, then you don't have to do anything. But if you do wish the alternative, any of the alternative 3 options, then you please submit this form at the end of this page. This page and this form have been available since the first day of the quarter, by the way. So several students have already submitted this form, and requests are on a first come first serve basis. But typically all student requests are approved, especially this classroom is big enough, and so is the other one. So I can accommodate up to 40 students or more in both classrooms. And over several years, I've never had any issues accommodating all student requests. So I don't foresee any issues this time also. Students won't receive an official or email or notification saying that they're approved. I will update this page. So I would say Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, approved or not. And if your request, so the only thing I will update is this date and time. So if your request was prior to this noted date and time, that means it is approved. Okay. So any requests that arrived before 12 p.m. today, they are all approved. And there's plenty of space. There's not as much demand for alternative time this time around. Usually I have about 15, 20 students. This time I have about like 10 or so. And I expect probably more students might sign up. Okay, final exam is mandatory. It's not optional. It is part of the overall grade. It is not dropped. You can choose not to take the final if you wish, but it counts for up to 25% of your overall grade. There is no Zoom or online option. All final exams are in person. They are paper-based. I will pass out the question sheet and the answer sheet, and students will work as in a normal exam or normal test, and then you return everything back to me once you're done. Students will present their valid Cal Poly ID. So typically what I do is I'll begin the exam on time. Everything's working 15, 20 minutes. I'll wait, maybe up to 30 minutes. I'll wait. Then I'll come around with the sign-in sheet. I'll have students present their ID to me. And then students will sign in. So it's a sheet of paper. You have your name. You just sign in, write your first and last name, write the date. And then when you're done, you come back. I mean, before you leave, you come to the instructor's desk. You sign out, and then I will receive your exam. So do not leave without signing out. So you'll have two signatures, signing in and signing out. If I do not have both signatures on there, then I will not grade your exam. Okay. So do not leave the room without signing out the exam. All right. I will not accept the exam, basically. Final exam has the same rules as class. You can walk in and out anytime you want, go have a bite to eat, take a break, do yoga for 5 minutes if you need, use the restroom. If you are walking out, leave all of your electronic devices at your desk, and then feel free, to take a break. All right, as to what's going to be on the final exam. Logic gates are no longer going to be on the final exam. You have four big topics: semiconductor fundamentals, diodes, BJTs, and FETs. Short answer questions, some fundamentals type of questions perhaps, and then 1 to 2 problems for each. Now, when I say 1 to 2 problems, could be like a one problem broken up into 2 parts or 3 parts or something like that, but it'll be assessing a certain topic. So 1 to 2 topics from each chapter. Okay, so semiconductor fundamentals, we have our semiconductor materials, properties, carrier generation, intrinsic semiconductor, extrinsic semiconductors, p-type, n-type, p-n junctions, doping, semiconductor physics, diodes, you have analysis, load line analysis, ideal diode models, Zener diodes, BJTs. Again, if you have load line analysis, models, biasing circuits, FETs, biasing circuits, etc. Prep work is quizzes, homework, the textbook, lecture slides and videos. Nothing out of the ordinary, but students are expected to engage with a slightly higher level of thinking than what we have gone through the quarter. So it's not going to be wildly different from what you have already seen. Okay. Some aspects of a question might be very similar to what you have already seen. Some aspects might require slightly higher level of thinking, which is what you'd be doing as a real life engineer anyway, right? You spend 4 years in college, 5 years in college, or like 6, 7 years in college. But after that, you'd have a career lasting decades. And so 10 years from now, 20 years from now, there'll be new topics, new things in your field, in your area, in the world, right? Changing very fast. And so how would you learn about those new things? How would you apply something that you learned 10 years ago to something that is at present in your job? So to assess something like that requires a slightly higher level of understanding. So very similar to what we have done in the quizzes and the homework, but slightly different. It's not going to be wildly different. Okay. All right, equation sheet. You don't have an equation sheet because it's an open book, open notes exam. Typically, I sit in the way back. You can use your tablets, you can use your laptops, but I sit in the back and proctor. And so students are free to use their tablet devices or electronic devices to access course material, but nothing else. Okay, so it's open book, open notes. Your books, your notes could be in digital form. You can use a tablet, you can use a laptop, that's fine. But no other internet access or no other internet usage. And then I think that's about it. All right, questions? Any questions from anyone?
I have a question.
Yes.
Do we have access to McGraw-Hill?
Yes. Yep. You can have access to McGraw-Hill, the homework system and the textbook and the class notebook, anything else that you may have stored online. Okay. No ChatGPT. It's not yet. Maybe I should feed some wrong answers to ChatGPT that trains the model. Anyway. Course evaluation. I just sent out an email. They are open now. There's some issues with the lab sections. It's not yet available, but it should become available in a day or two. So for some reason, 315 is the only one of your circuits and electronics courses that has the same number for lab and lecture. Technically, it should have been 345, 345, right? 115, 145. 215, 245. So it should have been 315 and 345. Anyway, whatever the reason, the number is still the same. Number is the same. So your final grade will be like a combination of both. But as far as Canvas goes, you'll have a separate grade for the lab. You'll have a separate one for lecture. Then I will have to do some additional work to combine those, and we're on the final roster grade. Yes. So the way I'll calculate is a straight up ratio. So you have 3 units of lectures, 1 unit of the lab. So if let's say a student earns A and A on both, the final grade is also an A. But if they earn like a B in a lecture and B on the lab, well, A on the lab, then that will proportionally transfer to 1 unit of A, meaning 4 points. And then 3 times 3, 9 points for and then I'll calculate from there. Yeah. So it'd be like 10 overall GPA points for a 4-unit class, and then I would translate. Yeah. But again, the course evaluations are separate, so those will become available to students sometime tomorrow, I think. And once they become available, I'll send an email out to all the lab classes. Okay, so officially I'm going to call an end to the quarter, say for the quiz and the final exam. On Friday, I will be available in my office. On Wednesday, once we get done with the quiz, I'll be available here, back in my office later on. There's still a ton of material that we can go through. Your batch for these few years are the only ones who are taking this 115, 215, and 315 classes. Before you, well, not before this year, but few years ago, up until a few years ago, CPE majors took the same classes that the E students did. So they would take EE 113, 211, 212, the entire circuit sequence for one academic year. Then they would take 2/3 of the electronics sequence, meaning 306, 307. They would not take 308. So it was like 5 academic quarters. So those 5 academic quarters are squeezed into 3 academic quarters. Now, when we move to semesters, your CPE majors are going to take the circuits class again. So circuits 1, they won't take circuits 2, from at least from what I know. And then they end up taking like the 306 electronics. So the first circuits class and the first electronics class. So it'll still be 1 full academic year for the CPE majors. Instead of being like entire circuits electronics, they'll take it with the E students again. So in the overall grand scheme of things, I think few years in the middle, which you fall in this middle before the semesters and before a few years ago, you are the ones who ended up taking these circuits and electronics sequence. So there's a ton of material. Anyway, there's a ton of material that we can still do. But officially, I'm going to call it an end at this point. Okay. All right. So now we'll stop the recording and then, well, it's open to any Q&A or any doubts or clarifications, that, any questions that you may wish to ask.